Good evening, everyone. We are excited for everyone who is coming on in to this live. We appreciate you all for being here. We're going to just start off with making sure we all know who each other is and why we're here. We welcome you all. We appreciate you for joining us for this youth-led collective learning discussion this evening. We also welcome those who are going to be viewing this later through the recording. My name is Candace Hill. I am a Michigan Education Policy Fellow working with 313 Reads. In particular, I've been so fortunate to work with the Youth Literacy Justice Advisory Council. And through that's been through my work with 313 Reads that I've been able to work with these outstanding youth. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about the Youth Advisory Council in just a moment. But first, let's make sure we're all aware of the work that 313 Reads does. At 313 Reads, we are a coalition that mobilizes efforts across organizations for a collective impact in literacy, equity, and achievement in the city of Detroit. We believe that literacy is access and opportunity, literacy is equity and justice, and literacy is liberation. And so that's why we put on discussions like the one that we're having tonight, because we know that it makes a difference. Also with us tonight, we have the 313 Reads Executive Director, Dr. Leah Van Bale. We are, of course, thankful for her vision and leadership. And so with that being said, we want to make sure you know about what this great group of young people, the YAC is. The Youth Literacy Justice Advisory Council is a group of young leaders who are passionate about literacy. They have expressed an interest in helping community members build even better youth literacy programming. And that's exactly why they are helping to host this collective learning discussion series that we're doing. These discussions are an opportunity for our youth to lead by sharing their knowledge and perspective with our community. We're having these gatherings because we want them to be our teachers, right? Helping us to think through ways that we can think more deeply about literacy for our children and young people and ways to strengthen our approaches to youth literacy. Our YAC member who is being spotlighted tonight is Maddox Neloms. He and his father, Quan Neloms, will be our presenters this evening. They're going to tell us more about themselves, but I do want to highlight that Maddox is 13 years old in the 7th grade. He's an honor roll student at Southfield Christian School. And also, Quan, his father, is a Wayne State University grad with a bachelor's in education and a master's in counseling. And he was born, raised, and currently resides in the great city of Detroit. So before I give the floor over to them, I do want to emphasize that tonight's gathering is meant to be a conversation, right? So we want everyone to feel free to put your thoughts, comments, questions in the chat as our presenters go along. We will do our best to elevate comments as they come in. And also we will have some time at the end for some Q&A. So with all those things being said, I will move out of the way and I'll hand the mic over to Maddox and Quan.
All right, is the screen sharing? Okay.
So tonight's presentation is on hip hop and literacy, presented by me, Maddox Neloms, and my father.
Hello.
So I was born and raised in Detroit. I've been around hip hop all my life. As you see in this picture right here, I'm in the studio with my father as he was recording. And in this other picture, I made a dunk. It is called the nostalgic dunk. The way this came about is because my father actually used the word in a song. And I was so intrigued by it, I just said it a lot. Then one day I decided to incorporate it with basketball.
How old were you on those pictures?
I
think you were about 1 year old when we were in the studio. But how old were you dunking?
I think I was either 3 or 4.
Oh, 3. Yeah, yeah, that was. Yeah, those pictures are nostalgic. All right. My name is Quan Neloms. I actually I also grew up in Detroit. worked in Detroit as a teacher, graduated from Mumford High School, and I actually became interested in hip hop. I believe I wrote my first rhyme when I was actually Maddox's age. So when I was your age, I did. And there was a in the 90s, I came of age in the 90s. Those of you that know anything about 90s hip hop, is called the golden age of hip hop. And that definitely is what I experienced. There was a place over on 7 Mile near Greenfield in Detroit called the Hip Hop Shop, where all the hip hop acts in Detroit, whether it was Eminem, D12, Proof, Slum Village, Jay Dilla, they would all make their rounds up there. And so to be able to be a part of the Hip Hop Shop and seeing hip hop in Detroit and rappers, it definitely inspired me to become someone who wrote rhymes. And I ended up becoming a performer and rapping as well. So this is my crew in New York. We actually did a couple shows in New York. This picture's like over 20 years old. And if you can't tell, this is me right here. It's my good friend Lamar right there, and some other people that may look recognizable. Here are some of the albums that we created. The same type of skills I use to write rhymes, I also use it just to write, period. And so I believe listening to hip hop in the 90s, it made me a smarter person. I think it made me great with vocabulary, and so I was able to transfer those skills into my writing. So I've also written children's books as well, with other types of writing as well. So
Quan, I just want to say the book that you just shared, if you can go back to that,
okay.
The Nugget Snack Shop. My son Langston loves this book. I kid you not, it is still out like at our dining table, but there was a CD that went with it. And I listened to that so many times in the car. It's like stuck in my head. It's amazing. And my kids loved it.
Oh, that's good. Yep. Those are some songs that were inspired by the book. So if you guys are interested, you can check it out. It's actually online, the nuggetsnackshop.com. You can listen to the music, look at the video of the book, and order the book if you would like, but it's online. So the topic that we're looking at today is hip hop and literacy, hip hop and its influence on youth literacy.
So why hip hop? As you know, hip hop is a very wordy art form. If you are a part of hip hop, you have to know how to use words. If you listen to hip hop, you have to know what those words mean. And do any of you who listen to hip hop in the chat?
I see somebody said that their favorite, I think Miss Evans said her favorite hip hop group is Arrested Development. You ever heard of that group?
I've heard of them, but I don't really listen to their music.
Okay.
But
All right. Let me see. Anybody else? So your mom says the Mad Prophets. You ever heard of the Mad Prophets?
Yes.
Okay. Eric B and Rakim, you know them?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's a lot of old school hip hop. I know Miss Tribe Called Quest. I see LL Cool J. All right. No, nobody listen to anything new, huh? All right. Okay.
So y'all in the chat are not alone, because as you see, since 2017, hip hop has been the most consumed genre of music in the United States, according to Forbes.
So hip hop not only is like one of the most listened to genres of music in America, it also has a scholarship to it as well. Again, I feel like that growing up, listening to hip hop, like Maddox said that his first word, multi-syllabic word that he learned was nostalgic. And I was after listening to a hip hop song. I remember at the age of 8, I was probably 8, and there was a rapper by the name of KRS-One, and he had a song called My Philosophy, I think. And so he used the word philosophy and philosopher. And that was my first time hearing the word. And I remember wanting to look it up to see what does it mean. But him using it, I was actually was able to understand what that word means by listening to his rhymes. And so that's just a little example. But there is a scholarship behind hip hop, and the reason, the brilliance behind hip hop, is that it is creative, it's scholarly, it's innovative, it's relevant, and it's gritty, and it's fresh. That's a word that we used to use back in the day to say that you're up to date and hip. And so the thing is that these same characteristics that we find in hip hop, these are the same characteristics that we want for our young learners. We want them to be all of these. We want our teachers to be this. We want our classrooms definitely to be like this as well. So, yeah.
And a testament to what my dad just said is this man right here. So does anybody in the chat know who this is?
Let's see. Hold on. Does anybody know who this is? All right. I think somebody said one of my faves. I'm afraid to be wrong. Somebody said Kendrick Lamar. Somebody said Lamar, Kendrick Lamar. Okay. All right. So,
and for those who say Kendrick Lamar, y'all are right. And I know that there's a feud going on between him and Drake, but we can focus on the more positive things of his career. So many of you may not know, but in 2018, Kendrick won a Pulitzer Prize for music, and this is the first time in the prize's history that a hip hop artist has ever won a prize like that.
Wait, hold on. Before you go forward, what is a Pulitzer Prize? What is that?
It's like a highly regarded award for writers and composers.
Okay.
And
okay. All right. Well, I think that's right.
Does anybody know who this lady is?
Oh, you gotta put Okay. All right. I don't think we have anybody that knows who this is. Not going to lie, feeling old and realizing how much we need this. All right. So who is this?
Well, this lady, she goes by the name of Rhapsody. Her critically acclaimed album Eve is actually taught as a part of the curriculum at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Ohio State University.
Okay, and I think it's a women's studies class because that album Eve, I think each song is titled after like a woman, a notable woman in history or even current as well. Okay. So for some of the old heads on the call, this is we should know who this is. The young man right here. This is Nas Escobar, and he's actually at Harvard University on this picture. And the reason is because there's a fellowship that's still in existence today. There's a fellowship in his name at Harvard, and so that again, that's another testament that even Harvard University sees the benefit of prose and the written word through hip hop and enough to put money behind it and actually create a fellowship in his name at the university. There's an artist now, I think that actually went through this fellowship and maybe is currently going through it. Do you know who D1 is?
No, I do not.
D1, okay. All right, well, D1 he's an artist. You guys can look him up. He's an artist that's actually doing this program now as well. Here's another. His name is A.D. Carson. So he actually is Dr. A.D. Carson. He actually wrote his dissertation as an album, as a mixtape. And so you can check this out, Owning My Masters, The Rhetoric of Rhymes and Revolution. Let's see. All right.
This website here is called Rhymes is Reason. It was actually born from the brainchild of a man at Brown University who found out that a lot of words used on the SAT actually can be found in certain hip hop songs in the right context, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually use this in the classroom. So I was a classroom teacher for 15 years, and I used a lot of vocabulary programs throughout the years. And this was probably one of the first vocabulary program that students were very into. They would remind me every day, like, hey, put on, can we do Rhymes with Reason today? And it was a good program. It it extracted the vocabulary words that's found in hip hop songs, and he would, it would be written out, and you can actually listen to the actual part of the song which is being used, and he would give the definition and put it in this context as well. And all kind of, it's grown since I was using it, all kind of activities for students to use. And this is just some data from when I was using it in my classroom, just the pre-test and the post-test, the pass and fail rates. And you can see as we went further and further in doing it, we end up getting to like 100% pass rate on the post test. So again, another testament to the brilliance behind hip hop.
So this website right here is called Genius. It used to be called Rap Genius, and the fun part about it is that you can actually annotate and change what the lyrics mean.
Well, not change. You can. Well, yeah, no, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you change the lyrics. As you see, they actually give you like the context of what the rapper means. As you see, this is MF Doom, and you see that when he says the hour they knocked the slick blaster, it means that he's referring to the hour of his death. And
let's go back to this a little bit. Genius, actually, you ever use Genius? Rap Genius?
I used it a little bit, but now that they have lyrics on YouTube, I don't really need Genius.
Yeah, if you ever listened to a rap song and wondered what it meant, matter of fact, there were two. I think these were two students at MIT who created Rap Genius. And so what they wanted to do, they wanted to provide a service where if you ever wondered what rap lyrics meant, because sometimes words in rap, it can be slang or it can be regular words that's used differently. And so they wanted to make sure that people understood like what people meant, what artists meant. And so you can not necessarily change the lyrics, but you can annotate and say what you think the lyrics means. And so you can go in, you click on a lyric, a bar, you can highlight it, and it will show some definitions or people who are commenting and discussing what these lyrics actually mean. And sometimes the artists themselves will actually come up. I think they do a whole series now on Rap Genius where they have the actual artists that come on and examine their bars and talk about what their bars actually mean. And so what ended up happening is that, as you can see, it's called Genius now. It used to be called Rap Genius, but they dropped the rap because they found out those same skills of analyzation and annotation, it can be used not only for rap lyrics, but it can be used for book entries. It can be used for magazine articles. It can be used for poems, anything that's written. And so, but it all started out with, using those skills to decipher rap lyrics.
Maddox and Quan, can I ask a question? So back to Genius and that slide you showed with the annotation and the definitions, it makes me think of doing things like, like SAT prep and like teaching credit recovery courses where this exact thing, you can hover over something like, and I'm thinking back to a particular passage that I saw students working with. It was Edgar Allan Poe, and they were trying to like understand some of it. And so this is really powerful, this example that you chose, Maddox, like it's showing like the legitimacy of this as text, right? Are you seeing, Maddox, this kind of like analysis of lyrics happening in the classroom in any spaces?
Now, not really, because teachers aren't really playing rap music in classes due to how kind of like, I wouldn't say bad, but like inappropriate it is now. So yeah.
Okay. I would add to that it's something that can be used in the classroom, but it can also be used at home with parents, and so if parents are empowered, if I know we have lots of young parents as well. If you are writing and listening to appropriate lyrics, or these are things that you can kind of talk about with your kids as well. Now, have you seen that happen where your parents go over rap lyrics with you?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's something that I think parents could do as well. Is just really utilize the things that their students, their young learners may be interested in, and showing them the brilliance and the the genius behind the things that they may be already interested in.
I just want to say I appreciate you guys sharing this tool because, you know, when I think of annotating, you know, I remember as a kid when I learned about annotations in school, and that became something we had to do all the time in our literature classes, annotate, annotate, annotate. It's easy to associate something like a skill like that with strictly with just like schoolwork and academia, but to see how that is a skill and a tool that can be applied to so many other areas of life, including the music that we love, I think is a really great connection. So thank you for sharing this.
So
This is
so basically this is a TEDx, and it's basically talking, and it's basically a dude, he's from the UK, and he compares, he actually gives a pop quiz on what lyrics are rap and what lyrics are Shakespeare, and it's kind of interesting the way this plays out. So we can watch a couple minutes of this real quick.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If I could request the resetting of the clock, because it's on 4 minutes at the moment. I presume from one before. Fantastic. Okay, so my name's Akala. I'm from the Hip Hop Shakespeare Company. And before we get into the philosophy of our work, what that means, what the intention is behind it, I'm going to challenge you guys to a little bit of a pop quiz. And we've done this pop quiz quite a few times. We'll talk about it after we do it. I'm going to simply tell you some quotes. One-line quotes taken either from some of my favorite hip-hop songs or some of my favorite Shakespearean plays or sonnets. And you're going to tell me by show of hands whether you think it's hip-hop or Shakespeare. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first one we'll go for is to destroy the beauty from which one came. To destroy the beauty from which one came.
So before we continue, can we get what the opinions of people in the chat and what they think that lyric is?
Is it Shakespeare or is it hip hop?
As they're coming in, I'll drop them at the bottom of the screen, Maddox and Quan, so you'll be able to see them at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
All right, we see Ms. Wright says hip hop. Cheryl Evans says hip hop. Melissa says Shakespeare. Okay. Courtney says Shakespeare. Okay. All right. So
interesting.
Let's let the cat out the bag.
So let's continue.
If you think that's hip hop, raise your hands, please. If you think that's Shakespeare, raise your hands, please. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, about 70% towards Shakespeare. It's from a gentleman known as Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, from a track called Can I Live? We'll go for another one. Maybe it's hatred I spew, maybe it's food for the spirit. Maybe it's hatred I spew, maybe it's food for the spirit.
So before we continue, can we get the opinions of the people in the chat, please?
Is that Shakespeare or is that hip hop?
I am laughing so hard at Courtney Neloms' comment.
All right, so Ms. Wright says Shakespeare. Courtney says hip hop. Melissa, Shakespeare. Okay.
So that was about 50-50. Let's continue.
Hip hop. Shakespeare. Okay, another one money towards the Shakespeare. Interesting. Anyone heard of a gentleman known as Eminem? He is not Shakespeare. That's from a track Eminem did with Jay-Z, actually, called Renegade. We'll go for a couple more. Men would rather use their broken weapons than their bare hands. Men would rather use their broken weapons than their bare hands.
So for the people in the chat, what do y'all think? Shakespeare or hip hop? Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Maybe hip hop. Is that?
Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's enough.
So a lot of y'all said Shakespeare. Let's see if y'all right.
Hip hop. Shakespeare. Pretty even spread with a Shakespearean lean. That one is from Shakespeare, from a play known as Othello.
Okay, I think we can stop right here. If you want to,
I was not born under a rhyming planet. I was not born under a rhyming planet.
So for the people in the chat, what do y'all think? Shakespeare or hip hop?
I was not born under a rhyming planet. Rhyming planet. I don't know.
Somebody said Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cheryl Evans didn't just say Shakespeare. She said Othello.
Darn it. She got it wrong.
Hip hop.
Hip hop. Rhyming planet hip hop. Everybody saying hip hop. Okay.
Let's see if y'all right.
Hip hop. Shakespeare. That one is Shakespeare. So much ado about nothing. We'll go for two more.
So we're gonna stop right there.
So I mean, what do you think about that? The fact that hip hop lyrics and lyrics from Shakespeare getting mistaken from one another. What do you think about that?
So it shows how, like, if you are a rapper, how crafty, like, how deep your vocabulary has to be for you to be a rapper.
And I think another good thing is just shows that the same scrutiny that you can put Shakespeare under is, hip hop can withstand that same scrutiny and be read and admired just like Shakespeare is.
So this next thing we're going to talk about is actually a program ran about by my dad. It's called Lyricist Society. I've been around this all my life. I've seen them win Grammys. Here's another picture.
Yeah, that's you can play a little bit of it.
This is actually a song and video that they made independently, put together themselves.
So, and you can see in this video you'll see a little cameo from from Maddox. So go ahead.
All right.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go.
People come and go, that's just how life is. I put my life on ice and be cool, cause I might slip. You ask me, we all going through a crisis. You woke up this morning blessing, you asking who Christ is. He gave me the spirit to sit up and write this. We all stuck in the TV, we telling lies, kids. My vision sees way farther than the TV screen in history books. We still celebrate the day our own land God took. Still a kids, now we shook. Watch out, you better look. I think they coming for our heads. Black men don't get booked. I don't follow trends because I like to set them. And I don't be spending my dollars because I like to let them stack to the ceiling and get taught like they play NBA. Love to see all my dogs ballin', ain't no need to hate. Separate from you house slaves, nor do I work the field. It ain't no telling what I would do just to touch a meal. I'm shooting straight for the stars, it ain't no half-stepping. Counting my blessings, staying humble, hope you keep the message. In my city, I wish nothing but peace and happiness. Because there's not much more freedom a black man could get. It's Dave.
So right there is just a testament to how well my dad was able to teach these kids. And we can continue.
Well, it's not me teaching, it's them them being able to have that skill to rap, but them having a platform to kind of share their voice. And somebody asked, "Are these young men from Detroit?" Yes, they are from Detroit. And the guy that you saw rapping first, he had a full beard, but yeah, he was a senior in high school. So sort of like myself, I had a full beard as a senior in high school. So he's a young boy, but he had a grown man beard. So.
All right. And as you see, this is another picture of when they won the Emmy for what was it?
So they won the Emmy for music video production, and this one was for a documentary that was done about them.
Yeah, and I see in this bottom corner, this is the standard Emmy you see on TV. And this is like a short video on.
We keep going. Yeah, you keep going.
That captures like the essence of this society and how it's operated and used.
If you're into hip hop, don't be scared to use it. Don't feel ashamed of using it in the classroom. To be able to listen to hip hop lyrics in context and analyze those lyrics, that helps students to understand some of these complex vocabulary that we want them to understand. And I think that that's an excellent example of what education could look like, when students are at the forefront and being involved in craft and their own learning experience. Black man dead, black man died. Another black thief, another black tribe. Wondering what a black man rides. Wondering what a black man rides. I was teaching at Frederick Douglass Academy for Young Men, and I noticed that you had students who were tremendous lyricists and they were artists, but there was no outlet for them to use their gifts. And so I pretty much just wanted them to have a place where they can use their voice. When you don't have it memorized, it's like you really kind of you say it differently. You know what I'm saying? The young people that's involved, we sit around, we talk about topics, we go through beat selections, but the discussion is probably at the center of everything, because this is where students really get a chance to discover their thoughts, to get in tune with their voice.
I had a hard life growing up, but I made it work. I don't want to come up next. I want to make it first.
They call me Big Son. I'm a senior at Money High School. My favorite part is just the overall, experience. I just like how I get to do something I love for a cause rather than just doing it, for nothing. When you got something to say, you want to talk, it's the place to do it. Just spill your feelings out for real.
So as you see, that's how it's operated and how my dad uses it to give students an outlet to express their feelings and emotions using their voices.
And this is real quick, just from the education side, Visible Learning. This is a book by John Hattie, and he talks about the effect size of teaching, right? Things that have large effect size and outcomes are like 0.4 is a medium effect, 0.6 is a large effect on outcomes. 0.4 is considered to be the hinge point. And so when you read through this book, I always found it interesting. Some of the things that has some of the largest effect size for learning is classroom discussion, reciprocal teaching, creativity programs, and also vocabulary programs. And these are all things that you could utilize in hip hop. And so utilizing hip hop, not only in the classroom, but using it as a tool for learning at home, at school, this is definitely a gold mine for learning. Bloom's taxonomy, when you talk about some of the higher order thinking skills, create, evaluate, analyze, we looked at Rap Genius, we looked at Rhymes with Reason. These are all things that we could utilize while using hip hop to get to some of those higher level thinking.
Students need to see themselves in their interests touted as brilliant. How many people in the chat agree with this statement?
right. So yes, absolutely.
So it seems like a lot of you said yes. So basically, having a student see themselves as like brilliant and their interest seen as brilliant is basically a confident boxer. It's stories of like people like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Like they will hire people just to come hype them up before a fight, so that they will come out different. Because a boxer that's like confident and knows they can do is different than a boxer who's just like the same either way.
So do you look at at learning as sort of like entering an arena, like a sports arena? If I'm entering a classroom to learn, is it like a boxer entering into a ring? Is that what you're saying, or a basketball player entering on the court? Would you make some? Is there some similarities between the two?
I would say if you have people like your community, like family members, or even people in your house, like telling you, I know you can do good. I see the potential in you. Then yes, because when you go into the classroom, you have a different mindset of like learning and knowing that I can do this, that it's possible. So yeah.
Okay. Well, here's some ideas that you can utilize for if you're a classroom teacher, again, or even if you're a parent at home. You can introduce themes and topics. One of the things that I found out about hip hop as a teacher is that as a social studies teacher, there's so many hip hop songs that dealt with the subject matter that I was going to teach, and so I was able to maybe play a snippet from a song that was talking about a topic that I was about to enter into. And so every topic that I've always talked about, I was able to kind of preview it with a snippet or even sometimes a whole hip hop song. So vocabulary, presentations, analysis, research. A big thing is discussion. If you want to have a great discussion with your kids, whether they're at home or whether it's at school, discuss hip hop lyrics. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good idea because as you know, it's a lot of like tension going on in the rap community, especially like Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
And I would say it's good to talk about that, see where like your students stand on that, or how or what they think about it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to share something with you all. We do something with Lyricist Society, and even with the older guys that I know that are teachers that rap. We do something called the bar exam. And so, what is a bar? You know what a bar is?
I'm just going to take a guess here. It's basically like a rhyme or like a series of rhymes that are used in one sentence.
Yeah.
In a rap song.
Yeah, a bar. Yeah, a bar is there's usually 16 bars in the verse, and so a bar is one part of one sentence taken from a hip hop song. And so we do something called the bar exam, where we examine lyrics. And so it's powerful when you see students get a chance to examine lyrics. So I'm gonna play a brief video of how we do the bar exam. In this particular bar exam, we had a topic. The topic was we asked students to write a verse about a teacher that inspired them. And so they wrote the verses, they recorded it, and they recorded a music video for the verses that they recorded. Now, we invited those teachers that they were talking about in their rhyme. And so the teacher's first time hearing the rhyme is in this music video. And so you're going to get you're going to get the teacher, you're going to get the student, you'll get the teacher, you'll get the student rapping and explaining his verse, and you're going to get a chance to see the teacher's reaction to this verse. So I'll play a little bit of that.
I don't know what what to say. Figured when I wrote this letter, I'd be flying on a plane. Better here than not at all, cause who knows how much time we got remaining. Don't wanna leave nothing unsaid, so I'ma say it. McCullough, you saved my life with this music. Without it, I'd probably be on these streets acting stupid, scaring moms out to death, bringing dirty money home. The end up a number with a cell that's so enclosed. Not making too much money though, don't like the way I'm living, but at least I'm living. Not in the ground or a statistic, I got a vision. I know how I'ma execute it, and you taught me how to do it.
Man, it's nothing to
But
it.
hear me out though, you took a high school kid, employed him, showed him a different angle before the system destroyed him. You showed me peace and that beef is better avoided. So the things you teach I keep when life gets too annoying.
All right, so the bar exam, everyone. So what we want to do is get a quick examination of the bars for the song that we just recorded. So kind of break down line by line, lyric by lyric, the meaning behind the bars that were written.
All right, let's start from the top then. First one is, honestly, I don't know what to say. Figured when I wrote this letter, I'd be flying on a plane. But here than not at all, because who knows how much time we got remaining. Don't want to leave nothing unsaid, so I'm going to say it. All right. That was kind of a kick off, just being completely transparent with the audience. Because, talking about someone who's inspired me, and pretty much saved my life with music, it's not an easy thing to do, at least in my case. So it's like, if that's how I'm feeling with this song, I want the audience, the people who are listening, to feel it as well. All right. And on top of everything else, who knows, when we leave this earth, at what time and in what method. So when I do go, hopefully long time from now, I don't want to leave anything unsaid with the people that I need to say it to. Right? I want to go being completely honest and transparent with everyone. Right? And then this one. McCullough, you saved my life with this music. Without it, I'd probably be on these streets acting stupid, scaring moms to death, bringing dirty money home, to end up a number with a cell that's so enclosed. That one is a direct shout out to McCullough because when I first found his studio, I was in a very bad spot, mentally, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Right? And I had all this anger from everything that's happened and I needed an outlet for it, but I never could find it. So I figured, I'd go to the studio, see what I can do there. And lo and behold, McCullough's there helping other musicians like myself. And from there, it's just kind of been uphill, to put it all short. This might boost his ego a little bit, but.
So I see right there, that's an example of what the bar exam does. It gives them an example to explain their lyrics and how they were used. It's kind of like Genius, kind of, but not online in real life.
And in this particular case with the bar exam, you have these were lyrics that the student wrote, but you can do that with anything. You can, as a counselor, I would ask students, what you're listening to, who are you listening to, what song you listening to, and I'll ask why, and sometimes they'll have very deep reasons for why they're listening to a certain artist or a certain song. And to be able to print out those lyrics and say, all right, let's go lyric by lyric. What does this mean to you? What does that mean to you? It gives a open stage for discussion in a relevant way for the students. This is a brief list of some of the tools that you can use: rhymeswithreason.com, genius.com, lyricsociety.com. You can go on lyricsociety.com and check out all the videos and even the bar exams that we were talking about. The bar, you got a chance to see the guy who wrote the lyrics talking, but the teacher's going to respond. And it was very, very powerful exchange between teacher and former student. Yeah. So, all right. You got anything to add to that?
I don't think I do.
Okay. What are you listening to right now? Huh?
Right now, I've been listening to Kendrick Lamar and Drake a lot.
Okay, the beef. Who's winning?
I think Kendrick still got it.
Okay. What I like and what I like the most, even with the whole rap battling, what I like the most about rap battles, those of you that's following the rap beef between Kendrick and Drake, it's not the first time rappers have done that, but what I love the most about rap beefs is when they resolve it. And so there's some very powerful examples in hip hop history where people who had beef with each other and made songs about dissing one another, when they come together and resolve their conflict. And it's a great way to teach conflict resolution. Off the top, I'm thinking about Ice Cube and Common. Some of you may know who Ice Cube is. Okay, so Ice Cube and Common, they had a big rap beef back in the 90s. They actually came together and resolved their rap beef, and they went beyond the resolution, and they ended up partnering with one another. They made movies together, they made soundtracks together, and even now they talk about their friendship. But it came about because they had a beef, they resolved it, but they went beyond just saying, okay, we quit, we resolve it. They end up becoming partners and in the industry. So there's so many examples like that within hip hop, and I think it's definitely a great blueprint to teach kids about conflict resolution and going beyond just conflict resolution and actually establishing friendship. So
J. Cole apologizing.
Yeah, J. Cole, what would you say?
J. Cole apologizing to Kendrick.
Yeah,
For this he made.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. And before we leave, does anybody in chat have any questions?
I saw a question that I was wondering about too. Can you speak about the Lyricist Society today in terms of, is it just kind of like open for applying, or how can you be a part of it?
So in Lyricist Society, it's usually with schools that I have some relationship with. But if you know of a young person that's interested, please go to lyricistsociety.com and send us a message, and we'll definitely get back with you. So these days, we still work with students in schools, but we also train teachers who are interested in having that type of program. If you got a dedicated teacher that's interested and motivated to utilize hip hop, we teach them the Lyricist Society process, and it's something. You don't have to be a mogul, you don't have to be somebody who had a background in hip hop, nothing like that. But if you just have an interest in allowing students to use voice, we will go through the Lyricist Society process, and we'll assist you any way that we can. We'll platform whatever you're able to create, whatever students are able to create as well. So be on the lookout. There's a young lady from Osborne High School. She's a 9th grader. She sings and she raps, and she just recorded some things, and that we're gonna platform for her as well. But that came about because somebody from Osborne, the social worker, asked us to come out and kind of work with the students there who were interested in hip hop. So, if you have an interest, and you want more information, just go to lyricistsociety.com and you can contact us, and we will be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you for the information.
I have a question. Somebody says kids know Ice Cube from Disney movies. What Disney movie?
He's been in several, like the Are We There Yet? Are We Home Yet? He
was in the Ninja Turtles. That Disney Ninja Turtles? Okay.
I don't know, but it kills me that that's how my kids know him.
Okay.
And today was a good day. They don't know that, but they know him in that movie.
Okay.
Maddox, I have a question. I'm wondering, I don't know, as you and your dad are talking about all this, it's clear there's so much power in using hip hop as a vehicle or a tool for all these critical thinking skills. And it's the literacy educator in me. you know, why do you think more teachers aren't using it? You mentioned maybe something about the language, and if there were, you know, swear words or profanity. Like, do you think that's the thing really that's holding folks back, or what would you want to say to folks who haven't been using it, but to encourage them to use it?
I would say that, like you said, yeah, the content is pretty horrific. Like, well, not horrific, but it's not kid friendly. I'll say that. But you can still use it. Like my dad said, he'll play snippets. You don't have to play a whole song and decipher the lyrics word for word, bar for bar. But if you feel like it's something that you can use in the classroom, go ahead and use it. Like,
But again, there's plenty of hip hop that's not, that's not inappropriate as well. So more underground, but it's definitely something to utilize. Somebody mentioned Chance the Rapper in the chat, and Chance is one of the ones that that was featured on Rhymes with Reason, and I remember that students came back. They would go home and use the program, and they came back with like, oh man, we was listening to Chance the Rapper, and so I know Chance had a album called Coloring Book, I think it was called, and there was a lot of good gems on there, a lot of things to start conversation. I mean, he updated the Peter Pan's story on one of his songs, and so I thought, so that's just an example of like song artists and songs that might not necessarily be inappropriate that you can kind of use in the classroom.
It makes me think a little bit about how when jazz really first came to the forefront, right? There are people who, even with jazz, had a lot of concern about that. And just thinking about how it also gets grounded in race, right? And so what people think is like, this is for the classroom and this is not for the classroom. And now, like, jazz is pretty mainstream, and I don't think people have those concerns anymore. But, just really thinking about, Maddox, the examples you shared of how rap lyrics are being used in university courses, and they're coming and talking about their work at Harvard and all these places. But yet kids in middle school and high school, right, don't like, it's not considered okay. But then when they get out of K-12, like suddenly now it's this valid thing. So I love your suggestion, like for even finding snippets, right? To amplify the power of that, so that we don't wait until folks have left K-12 education to lose the potential there.
So Maddox, we have come to see that you've dabbled to some extent in hip hop since you were just a young tyke, and you know what's coming. And I know we're kind of winding up here, but if you are willing to either share with us a song that you've done before, whether you want to rap it for us live or if you have a video or something like that, I just thought I'd put it out there for the people. You can let us know, we can get a taste.
I won't do it live, but I'll post a link in the chat. That's possible, and people can listen to it.
I appreciate that. We'll take a link.
What's the okay.
So you heard it, folks. Maddox say he'll make sure he provides us a link so we can get to experience his rap skills. And I just want to give another moment if anyone else has any questions for Maddox and Quan. We would love to give you an opportunity to lift those. All right.
In the chat says, Patricia Rice said, I love the way you are supporting the next generation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, wait a minute. Folks are calling for it live, Maddox. I mean, I don't know.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
I'll put that in. Okay.
Yeah, just put
I'm gonna put a link in the chat here.
probably put it on Facebook.
Well, they're looking for that, Miss Candace. Would you let folks know about tomorrow's opportunity?
Most definitely. So it is great to see all the folks who came out and joined us this evening. And if you loved it, which I'm sure you did, just know there's more, right? You can come back. Thank you for dropping that link there. If anybody wants to go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity to hear Maddox and his skills. But we have more youth who want to share and teach us. So tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. we'll be back here on live. And we're going to hear from Kai Shahid and her mom, Dr. Shahid. They're going to talk to us about book banning and the effects of book banning on literacy. And honestly, I mean, I've been blown away by our youth and their passion for these different topics. And I know that Kai and her mom have some really great things to share with us tomorrow. So we hope that you can come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. And invite others too, because it's as you can see, these conversations are so valuable.
And I just want to thank you, Candace. Candace leads our Youth Literacy Justice Advisory Council. She's helped build it from the ground up. She serves with 313 Reads as a TFA Detroit Policy Fellow. That's on top of her full-time job in assessment leadership in Detroit Public Schools Community District. And I know, Candace, you're really involved in youth work in your church. Like, you wear so many hats, and we're just so grateful for you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. And thank you all. I am going to go ahead and, bring us to a point where we're landing the plane. But I would love if we could all just give a great thank you to Maddox and Quan. You all have done a tremendous job this evening, just blessing us with great knowledge. I know as an educator, one of the things I appreciated so much about this conversation is that you all share tools that we can take into the classroom and begin to, have some of that impact in our students' literacy and their learning immediately. So thank you for that. Thank you, Dr. Leah Van Bell, just for your vision and for helping us with this tech and helping us make this great tonight. We appreciate you all. We hope that you'll come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.